Let's get sweaty.
Hey guys, welcome to a Shenmue Dojo video. Today's video, I'm going to be taking a tour of the Shenmue community over the years. So what I mean by that is I'm going to look through all the community groups, the Twitter pages, everything that's been out there over the years, groups past and present, ones that aren't active anymore, ones that are newly active, and I'm going to go through them all, where you can find them, and just a very brief overview of who they are and what they do. Now, everything will be available in a document in the YouTube description below, simply put because there's quite a lot of these. The character count in the YouTube description isn't long enough for me to put everything that I want to do. So I'll just link a document to a Google Drive. You can click on that and then you can look and find all the links and descriptions and everything for these particular groups and sites, etc. that you need to. This is going to be quite a long video, so get yourself a cup of coffee, tea, beer, whatever you are drinking, and sit back, relax, and let's go on a tour of the community. So first and foremost, I'm going to make a start with the next oldest group to Shenmue Dojo. So Shenmue Dojo is the oldest Shenmue community on the internet, and this first one is the next oldest, just by a year different, and that's Shenmue Master. So Shenmue Master, as I said, are the next oldest website. They emerged a year after Shenmue Dojo, created by Remy Luzin, who is French. The Shenmue Master caters to the French market of Shenmue fans. They came online on the 30th of November 2001, which is insane in itself, and has interviews, and some of the more major interviews with Yu Suzuki, talking about the story, things we haven't seen yet, and all the rest of it on their website. There's news, there's articles, and they also have a YouTube page. Very much a big sort of plethora of Shenmue content out there, and as I say, some of the more important interviews that have been conducted over the years as well. Not quite as active as they once used to be, but David DeVille, who helps run the website, has contributed to the artwork documents that obviously we've scanned in and preserved for everybody. So they're still sort of working away in the background, shall we say. But again, if you haven't checked out some of the historical stuff that's on there, go ahead and do so, because there is quite a lot of stuff to get through, and I think you'll quite enjoy it. Then moving away from Shenmue Master, I've got the Shenmue 500k over on Facebook. They also have a Twitter page. They have their own website as well. So the current mainline form of this is through the Facebook fan group. When this came under the management of Aaron Barstow in 2011, basically sort of back in the sort of the early 2010s, most of the way that Shenmue community communicated was through forums and message boards. And this sort of helped move things forward in terms of going onto Facebook and social media and all the sorts of it. And it sort of followed up from the 2007 MySpace campaign around Shenmue. And they use Facebook as a sort of the gathering spot for modern day era stuff. You'll regularly see posts on the Facebook wall there, ranging from reviews, unboxings, general discussion. It's moderated by a large team over there. So you've got Aaron, you've got Firat, you've got Ramon over there, who do a lot of the moderating there. Shenmue Dojo is involved in some of that as well, sort of sits behind the scenes and helps out where it obviously can as well. And we currently host the Shenmue 500k website, which hasn't been updated for a few years, but we've kept it online and wanted to preserve that for everybody to see. So make sure you check those out if you haven't done so already. Moving on, arguably one of the most important groups ever to come out of the Shenmue community. This is Team U. Now, this was started by James Hamill in 2012, which is, again, looking back, insane. And this was with one sole aim, and that was to educate the community and gamers on the distinction between Sega's unwillingness to publish Shenmue 3 and Yu Suzuki's desire to continue the series for its fans. So this is where the tweetathons came from, and the tweetathons, especially back then, arguably had one of the biggest differences in how we ended up getting the Kickstarter for Shenmue 3 and the re-releases of Shenmue 1 and 2. So it started off with the hashtag give you the Shenmue license, later changed to hashtag save Shenmue, and then hashtag save Shenmue HD once Shenmue 3 had been announced by the Kickstarter. And again, obviously moving on, the tweetathon legacy carries on today with the hashtag let's get Shenmue 4 and hashtag animate 2. So as I keep saying, arguably one of the biggest impacts out any of the groups within the community. All the pages are still live, so their Twitter page is still live. Obviously, they retired in 2019, well-deserved retirement by all stretch. The Facebook page is still there, and the website is then looked after by Shenmue Dojo as well, so it's kept under and kept online for everybody to, again, have a look at and see what's there. Again, they've got a really good timeline on the website. If you haven't checked it out already, James and I did a podcast on the timeline many years ago. I've linked it in the YouTube description below. that timeline of events leading up to the announcement of Shenmue 3 and everything after it is incredibly detailed, and I'd love to lift it onto our website. It's brilliant work. Moving away, next group I've got here is Shenmue Forever. So Shenmue Forever began on Twitter in November of 2015 with the aim of promoting the Shenmue series. Now, you probably recognise Shenmue Forever's work on Twitter, Blue Sky especially, because of sort of the wonderful photoshops that he does, sort of giving a different take on the Shenmue game, showing it in a different light, and also heavily pushing the hashtag Let's Get Shenmue 4. And it's essentially looking beyond the surface of what Shenmue is as a game and showing it in a different light, and it's essentially keeping the Shenmue love going across those platforms. The account is incredibly positive, the Photoshop work is generally insanely good, and again it's all geared up to keeping Shenmue going, keeping the community going, and everything in between it. So as I say, they have an X account, but that is no longer active at this point in time due to the issues over there, but they are active on Blue Sky, Instagram. They have a YouTube page and a Facebook page as well. If you want to go and check them out, go ahead and do so. And I think you'll be impressed with a lot of the artworks put together by the group over there. Moving on, I've got Phantom Riverstone. No introduction really. James and I use Phantom Riverstone a lot for the podcast and references for interviews gone by. August 2016 saw Switch, who was a long-time community member and translator, launch his own blog entitled Phantom Riverstone. And what it does is provide deep dives and translations for interviews from the past and present, and is very much sort of a cornerstone of the Shenmue community. Often referenced not just in our shows, but many other gaming outlets out there. When they start looking at Shenmue and the Japanese interviews that have been taking place, Phantom Riverstone is probably the first starting point you will go. And what Switch continues to do is find old articles and translate them and get those little nuggets of information that start piecing everything else together. Not only that, Switch does a lot of translation work in the community in general, has helped translate some of the design documents that obviously we've saved for everybody, and has done loads of other work over the years as well. So they have a website, phantomriverstone.com. Go and check that out if you haven't done so already. And also they have an X account as well, so check that out if you haven't done so. Coming away from Phantom Riverstone, I've then got a German-based website starting in 2013 by Philip Sharman, and this is Shenmue.de. Wanted to start off a German language Shenmue website. Why the hell not? Not been active for a long time. The last post was made on the 4th of July 2022. However, the website is still remaining online, which is fantastic, and hopefully that will see some updates in the near future. But let's just see what happens with the Zillion stuff. That might prompt a bit of an update here, who knows. Coming away, not just a Shenmue group, but more of a general Sega group. Sega Saturno is a sort of general Sega dedicated Spanish site, but also has Shenmue fans there and have participated in all the fan pushes across the years, so that the hashtags, the tweet-a-thons, any sort of the social media stuff that's happened, they have joined into that push on there. Also runs a Spanish podcast by Afonso Martinez. They have a Facebook page and a main website, so go and check those out if you haven't done so already, particularly if you're Spanish and want a sort of a Spanish Sega dedicated group. Probably a good place to start as well. They do lots of deep dives into other Sega titles as well, finding all sorts of lost bits and pieces and everything else in between. Coming away from that, but again, a foreign language setup, Shenmue Italia, set up by Riccardo Favera, or Rio X as more of you will know him by. Set this up for Italian Shenmue fans. Again, hasn't been posted on for a little while, but again, the website remains online, shenmueitalia.com, if you want to check that one out. Now we're coming away from a website for a little bit. I'm going to talk podcasts, and particularly Shenmue AM2 podcast. Now, as far as I'm aware, they were the first dedicated Shenmue podcast, which started in November 2016. Very sort of casual, laid-back approach to podcasting, covering all sorts of topics and having guests on at times. So they've had Corey and Eric on the show, for example. And we're regularly putting out content up until Shenmue 3, and again during the Shenmue anime phase as well. Shows do appear, even now, probably not as often as they used to, but they remain very active within the Shenmue community, particularly Andrew. He's often posting on the Shenmue AM2 podcast X account. You can find them on YouTube, and you can also find them on Spotify. The links will be in the document as I suggested. But go and check those out. I think they've got around 85, 86 episodes to check out, all ranging from sort of 20 minutes to an hour, depending on the show, the topic, and everything else in between. So there we are there. Coming away, we've got then onto YouTube itself. I've got Bluemu. Now, Bluemu does a ton of videos around obscure and interesting finds in Shenmue, as well as having a blog site, although that hasn't been posted on for around 6 years. So you're talking sort of really obscure like conversations, really obscure cutscenes, and really sort of difficult to find things that you wouldn't always necessarily think of. And what he does is goes and documents these on his YouTube channel, Bluemu over on YouTube, and there's all sorts of fun little cutscenes and nuggets there that are quite easy to miss or we don't even really see, and it's all documented over there, and it's a fantastic YouTube channel. Been going for a number of years now, so again, sort of a mainstay of the community, and even to this day is regularly posting stuff up there as well. Then I come on to Shenmusing. Stuart Peacock, or Miles Prower, known to the Shenmue community, very well known to Shenmue Dojo, shares his personal thoughts and analysis of the series in the Shenmusing's blog, which was founded in 2018. So here you will discover some really obscure aspects of the game and history that would be unfamiliar to many fans, including myself in some aspects. And again, through a perspective, a long time contributor to the community, Stuart has done the Shenmue 2 character database, the Shenmue 3 character database, and has, I kid you not, an encyclopedic knowledge of Sega, Shenmue, the characters, and everything else in between. They've got their own website, and they also have their own X account as well, if you want to go and check that out. Heading back to YouTube for just a second, you then have Richard Payne's YouTube channel, where he essentially is a master of the Shenmue fighting engine and puts together all these insane runs, like on the 70-man battle, beating up Chai without taking damage, and has made a couple of mods as well for the 70-man battle, including the recent Guizhang mod, which obviously you can download from our website, and I tested that out on stream. When I say encyclopedic knowledge around the fighting engine, this is where you need to go for all the details around the fighting engine, how it works, and how to get better at it. Richard Payne's YouTube channel is the place to go, so make sure you check that out. Now we're going to move over to Discord. Now, I'm sure most of you will be familiar with Discord by this sense. If not, we can drop the links in the description below for what it is and everything else. But there are two sort of Shenmue Discords out there outside of Shenmue Dojo. And the oldest one, that I'm aware of at least, in terms of the age, is Shenmue United. Now, this started in 2018 by Retro Lord 120. And it's the first Shenmue Discord to my knowledge. And it's very much a platform for all things Shenmue, in a laid-back, fun environment, a bit of self-depreciating humour. It's continued to grow since its inception, provides a great outlet for those who are outside of the usual social media circles like your X, Facebook, etc. Very chilled, very laid-back. Doesn't take itself too seriously, but I quite like that. Nice vibe in there. Everybody's really friendly. Go and check them out if you haven't done so already. And then the next one, which I actually discovered in the research for making this video, is Shenmue Agora Discord server. Now, this is a French Shenmue Discord server, again, sort of posting news and Shenmue conversation, and started by Aegis over there as well. Again, the description and the link is everything in the document you'll need. Coming back now, we're going to go on to X a little bit here and Blue Sky. I've first got Shenmue Village, who one of the newer outlets that's out there. I think came active around a year, 18 months ago. Maybe slightly earlier than that, but I'm sure they'll tell me. Regularly posting on X and Blue Sky, but have really come into their own during 2024, more regular posting and becoming more active in the Shenmue community. Again, just pushing Shenmue, the hashtag Let's Get Shenmue 4, and any Shenmue content that is out there. Shenmue Village on X and Shenmue Village on Blue Sky if you haven't checked those out. Coming on rather, I come on to Dream On, a real newcomer to the Shenmue community scene, having joined X in June 2004. Again, posts daily content on social media related to the Shenmue series, as well as wider Yu Suzuki titles and projects. Has already sort of establishes himself as a really active and positive member of the Shenmue community, especially on the 4th of every month, and will run a couple of smaller accounts with that as well. 1999 Dream On X, if you haven't checked them out already. They may have a Blue Sky as well, but I will pop the link in the document for everybody should they have that. Again, really positive. Great to see a new active outlet as well, and really knowledgeable about Yu Suzuki and Shenmue stuff all the same. Now I'm going to come on to a less serious account here. No Context Shenmue. Now, brilliantly funny. I'm going to say that now. Brilliant funny. If you want top quality, A+ Shenmue memes, then look no further than this account on X. posting, I think, daily memes to the Shenmue series. Very light-hearted, very tongue-in-cheek. We'll laugh at the Shenmue games and the meme stuff around it. We all do, but this is really genuinely quite funny. Running since April 2019, and always seem to be coming up with fresh content to keep us smiling as a Shenmue community. And it's a very much a contrast to the more sort of serious stuff of some of the outlets I've mentioned previously. This is very much a laid back, just have a laugh, a bit of fun sort of outlet. Shenmue Context on X, if you haven't checked them out already, go and do so, because I promise you, you will find a lot of the things they do quite funny. Then coming over to, again, a relatively new account, quite a, as I say, niche account in the nicest way, because I think it popped up at the sort of middle of 2024, run by Vivi Gamer, who also runs the Shenmue Wiki page, which I'll come on to later. You have Shenmue Faces. Now, this is a dedication to all NPCs of Shenmue. They have a YouTube channel and a Twitter presence, and essentially you get to know the NPCs, and there's a video of each NPC, their character traits, and them speaking and having a conversation. It's a fun little channel. I think it takes itself seriously in the sense of it's well edited, well put together, but doesn't take itself seriously in some of the NPCs they've covered, and are quite willing to cover the more funny, quirky NPCs within the Shenmue series as well. As I say, relatively new, slightly different take, but a cool take all the same. Then we move on to Wandering Through Shenmue, who are on Twitter and YouTube. And just to sort of say this, obviously they put together a lot of those sort of walking through Shenmue videos over on YouTube that have got quite popular. Started in February 2022. Post vibe videos and responsible for a lot of the newer Shenmue gifts that are out there online at the moment. You can find the longer form content over on YouTube as well, and they've often been banned on the 4th tweetathons for not being human, for reposting the hashtag Let's Get Shenmue 4 so much. Brilliantly enthusiastic, always up for trying something new, and just pushing that Shenmue content out there as much as possible. Do check them out. Really, really cool people as well over there. A lot of time for that little community over there. But fantastic job that they do. And I think the videos on YouTube are genuinely really cool. So that chill vibe, wandering through Debuita and the Shenmue games as well. I think it works really well together, and you should all check that out if you haven't done so already. Then I'm coming on to a account run by Hiki, who's one of the staff members at Shenmue Dojo, Shenmue Cross Virtua Fighter. This is an account dedicated to the crossover between the Shenmue and Virtua Fighter series. Now, everybody I'm sure who watches this channel will know that Shenmue was derived from the Virtua Fighter RPG, and what Hiki is doing is sharing the love for both of those franchises, but also looking at the inherent crossover between the two, and does a really good job around that. Hiki's very passionate, does the blogs on the Shenmue Dojo website for us as well. Again, brilliant blogs there. Go and check out the X account on there if you haven't done so already. Great outlet for some really obscure information between Shenmue and Virtua Fighter if you haven't gone and done that already. Speaking of obscure, but this is again equally cool, Shenmue 2 Differences and Shenmue Park. So these are two accounts run by Brian Park as well as a website. So the first, Shenmue 2 Differences, looks at the differences between the Dreamcast and the Xbox version of Shenmue 2, which joined Twitter in 2018, and the first update on that website was the 1st of August 2018, although I have a sneaking suspicion they started much earlier than this, but that's as far back as I could see from the research from this video. Brian then sort of spawned into the more obscure Shenmue facts and differences through the Shenmue Park account. So like some really obscure detailing in there. Go and check it out on the website for all those little obscure things. But arguably is responsible for finding one of the biggest finds in recent memory within the Shenmue community. Within the Game Jam beta, Brian sat there putting all the codes to try and get anything to happen on the debug menu, and by doing that discovered the Zang cutscene that was cut from Shenmue 2 from the Game Jam beta. Check that out on his YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Shenmue2differences.co.uk, Shenmue 2 Differences on X, and Shenmue Park on X, as well as Shenmue Park on YouTube. Go and check all of those out, especially the Zang cutscene. I promise you're in for an absolute treat with that, and a wonderful discovery all the same. Sticking with sort of that YouTube channel, Shenmue channel is a YouTube channel, and is also an admin on the Shenmue Wiki over on Fandom as well. Basically has a ton of gameplay and footage from the Shenmue series. I'm talking cutscenes, gameplay, QTE stuff, all of that. I think also delved into the anime when that was running as well. The YouTube channel started in 2012 and is still active to this day. So go and check those out if you haven't done so, especially if you want some sort of good gameplay, tips, hints, cutscenes. That's a really good place to go and start. Now we're coming into some of the other websites, X accounts, whatever you want to call them, from sort of way beyond. I've got Shenmue Guide here, which is a Japanese Shenmue Twitter page. Unfortunately, hasn't been active since 2019, but is still online. Is very much a Japan-centric Shenmue page, posting news updates from the various Shenmue communities out there at the time. Likewise, you then have Shenmue Japan, which was another Japanese-centric Shenmue page. Hasn't been active again for a number of years, but again, check them out. Just have a look at the historical context that's over there. Hopefully that account picks up again soon along with Shenmue Guide. Then I'm going to come on to, again, something really, really important with the Shenmue community, and that is Suka Pass. So Suka Pass, I'm sure most of you know what it is, but for those of you who don't, launched itself as an app on iOS, on Android, on August the 27th, 2019, which was also going to be the release date of Shenmue 3 until it got pushed back to November 19th, 2019. So this has been running for coming up 6 years, which is mental in itself. It's had millions of updates over the years, and what it does is essentially recreate the Shenmue Passport from Shenmue 1, but has then taken it beyond that content and restoring that content, and has done other things as well, like having music from fan projects, videos. All of that is within the Passport app that they've got, Suka Pass app. If you haven't downloaded it, it's readily available, as I say, on iOS, on Android, and they've got a website, sukapass.com. That was put together by Switch. James Skill Jim obviously runs the dojo with me. I believe Shenmue Forever had some input in that as well. Paddy had some input. Jibby did the video and some of the website work, and I believe Peter Campbell was involved when he was in charge of Shenmue Dojo as well, helping get this together. If I've missed anybody, let me know, but that, from what I can remember and what I read, they were the people involved in getting this running. But very much Switch and James are the guys that keep this going, keep it up to date, and keep it going forward. I am going to give a mention to Shenmue World. Obviously, it's the Shenmue Community Magazine. 3 issues in now, which is meant to, obviously, James Brown put this together as very much a labour of love for the Shenmue community. A fantastic magazine if you haven't checked that out. They also have the website and the X account as well if you haven't checked that out already. I want to give it a notable mention in here because it doesn't quite sit in community groups or anything because it's almost like a product, but I wanted to mention it within this video as well because it is, again, a top quality Shenmue community product, and you can see 2 of the issues behind me already. Then coming sort of back into some of the other Shenmue accounts that are out there. Again, hasn't been active for a number of years, but Shenmue AU, which is started in 2021, is an Australian-based X page. Hasn't posted for a couple of years, but again, just out there reposting all the Shenmue news for that side of the world. Shenmue AU on X if you want to follow them. Shenmue 3, again, was a new Shenmue X account reposting Shenmue news and content from other outlets. I think this has only been running a few months from memory, but again, another positive Shenmue outlet for the community to engage with and enjoy. And again, it multiplies the voices. The more of these groups that are out there, it multiplies the voices and keeps us going, keeps that positivity going. And I know, as I keep saying with some of these, they haven't been posting for a while, but then other new groups are popping up and filling those voids. So that's great to see new groups popping up, as I say. Coming on, I've got Shenmue Arabia. Now, this was a page set up for Arabic-located followers. Unfortunately, hasn't posted since 2022, but again, remains online, and you can see all their previous posts. Now we're going to move into China. Now you probably look at me going, there's Chinese Shenmue groups. Yes, there is. I managed to find at least one of them. There's probably more out there. But again, this one is called Shenmue Bar. It is a Chinese Shenmue social page. Almost looks like a bit like a Reddit account, I guess, on a site called Baidu, which I'd never heard of. But this is very much active even now. There's a definite push on there, for example, to get Shenmue 1 and 2 into Chinese characters. And I think there's a fan mod working on that at the moment. Likewise, there's also a push to get a proper Shenmue 3 version translated into Chinese, which would lend further credence to the fact it never actually got released in mainland China. And also there is mention of the in-game stuff and the new recent character renders that were released by the Shenmue Dojo not too recently. So again, people over there in China are still following Shenmue, and that's absolutely brilliant and fantastic to see. On top of that, there is an account run by a Chinese fan who lives in the UK. I know him quite well. Shenmue Photos run by Chow. He runs an account taking sort of nice screenshots of the Shenmue games and has sort of been active on and off on X for a number of years now. So check out his account if you haven't done so already. Now we're going to move into other areas of, I guess, social media, if you want to call it that. I'm going to move over to Reddit. People will probably look at me going, oh, Reddit, here we go. Shenmue Reddit, anyway, is very simply a subreddit for all things Shenmue. It is very well run. Bert over there is the main moderator. Since January, Shenmue Dojo has been helping out over there with the moderation as well. And it is a really cool and different place to go over and discuss all things Shenmue. It's a slightly different crowd to the mainline Shenmue community. There is some crossover over there. But as I said, it's very well run by Bert over there, and it's been running since, I think, 2018, and it's got over 14,000 members on there, which is a fantastic number of people on there. I don't know how many of them are completely active all the time, but that Reddit keeps moving. There's always new posts on there, almost on a daily basis, so that is a cool outlet for the Shenmue community if you haven't checked that out already. It's reddit.com/r/Shenmue if you want to pick that up. Then, and I mentioned this earlier in the video, the Shenmue Wiki. Now, this is a full breakdown of almost every Shenmue area, character, and much more besides. This is one of the go-to resources in the Shenmue community for all these sorts of obscure things, alongside like Shenmue Musing, Shenmue Master, and the Shenmue Dojo website as sort of 3 examples there. This has been constantly updated, and fans from across the community are invited to update characters, put in new articles and everything. It's very much open. It's run by Shenmue Channel, who has run the wiki for the last 13 years and has really sort of taken that on to the next level. And obviously there's contributions from other community members, as it's essentially an open source thing that everybody can contribute to. Go and check it out if you haven't done so. There's some really cool information over there. Great nuggets of obscure facts as well. But again, a great website, and it's continuing to be updated and continually active to this present day. Next one up, back on X, is Virtuous Shenmue. This is a page very much dedicated to the visually pleasing aesthetics of Shenmue and the shots there, and will take specific shots on specific days, like Monochrome Monday is one that dropped straight out into my head as well. I think Triple Lens Tuesday is another one they do, and also streams over on Twitch. Zatorio, who used to be one of the Dojo staff members, has set this up and consistently posts and contributes to the tweet-a-thons. I think also has a Blue Sky account as well, so I will link that in the document for everybody to see. Coming into the last few now, Shenmue in Invasion. Now this is an X and Blue Sky page dedicated showcasing the in-in games as part of support for the Shenmue movement and exposure for the in-in games publisher products, with the view that, again, if in-in are selling more games, they've got more money to put into Shenmue series on top of promoting Shenmue as well. Relatively new, I think it's been going at the time of recording a couple of months, but again, a real positive outlook on not just Shenmue but in games, and hopefully what they are going to bring to the table to the Shenmue series going forward. Lots to see there, and more to come from that site, I'm sure. Next up, Shenmue Neoseeker Wiki, very similar to the Shenmue Wiki with regular updates and content. Pretty much the same principle, just run on a different area. I'm not sure who runs it, but again, that is a sort of it's been there for a long time. So again, another cornerstone of the Shenmue community. So if you haven't checked that out, go ahead and do so. Coming on to the last few little bits now. I'm going to be talking about a little bit about Team Luin Shu, or I'll say it again, Team Luin Shu, I can't talk, which is a page and team that focus on the research and documentation of Shenmue 1, Shenmue 2 and Shenmue 3, and like the mods that have been made. A lot of the mods, certainly recent times, have come through Team Luin Shu, especially the Shenmue 3 stuff and some of the later Shenmue 2 and Shenmue 1 stuff. On top of that, they are working on the DMP project, although there hasn't been an update on that for quite some time. And they also run the Luin Shu wiki page, which very much focuses in on the research and documentation of the ports from 1 and 2 that were obviously done by D3T. Links in the document, as I said. The last one I'm going to touch on, and I am denied about including it, but you know what, it is there. It's still online. This is called Shenmue Fans. Now, for those of you who have been in the Shenmue community a long time, I'm sure you will recognise this as the old Shenmue Dojo YouTube channel from back in the day, still held by one of the old owners of Shenmue Dojo. There's loads of old interviews on there, loads of old content, trailers, music. it is a massive plethora of stuff that was put together under the dojo umbrella before the dojo was then, I think, eventually moved over to Peter, if my memory serves me correctly. But I would love this back under the Shenmue Dojo umbrella, because there's such a plethora of content over there that I think it would be lovely to have it all in one place. It hasn't been active for a good 2 to 3 years, but still maintains a good following from what I can see over there. And as I say, it's a really good resource for everybody if you haven't checked some of that out. There's some really sort of good old stuff within that, like Shenmue Online and interviews and everything else over there. But I would be open to a discussion about bringing it back under Shenmue Dojo, because I think it would be a fantastic way to encapsulate all that together. But that is just a personal plea. Ignore me, everybody else. So that brings us to the end of this quite long video, and I have sort of fired through these as quickly as I possibly could, because obviously there's quite a lot to get through. If I've missed any Shenmue community groups, please let me know. It's not deliberate. I've spent quite a long time trying to research this, and it's inevitable I may have missed 1 or 2 of them. It's not deliberate, let me know, and if there's enough of them, I will pick up a follow-up video to this as well, as an addition to the groups that I've mentioned already. Thank you for sticking with me. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and all the usual places that you can find us. And for £2 a month, you can be a member and get all the videos ahead of time. Don't worry if you don't. Everything goes scheduling. Nothing's locked behind a paywall, and any money made goes to the site running costs and competitions, etc. that James and I put together. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for enjoying the content, and thank you for engaging with the Shenmue community. And I'll be back with a video in the not too distant future. But for now, guys, take care and have a good one.